Hey everyone, and welcome to Off the Beaten Clef. We are in week 4 of Metal March Through the Decades. We're doing the 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sad to
let's
see
get
it
into
go.
it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We beefed that out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sink a little lower, get a little higher. Finger on the trigger, scream, ready on fire. Sink a little lower, get a little higher. Finger on the trigger, scream, ready on fire.
I thought you were just gonna be like, So I was like, okay, I'll just roll right in.
Sorry.
Shit.
That's all right. We're not re-recording it. We're just gonna leave it like that.
Are we?
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Okay. All right. Fuck it. So here we are, guys. We are doing Metal March Through the Decades. We are covering metal from the 2010s. I did it 2010 to 2019, but I know really it didn't matter if we did 2020, 21, and 22, just because this is the last week. So kind of, there's only 3 years, there was no harm in throwing one in, and I know you did, which is okay because it's one of my favorite picks. So,
sweet.
How you been feeling about this month, Kev?
Like I said in the botched intro, I'm sad to see it go.
I am too.
I've been really enjoying it. I think I've talked about, before in this month that, I kind of fell out of love with metal for a while, so it was good to get back into it and discover that it wasn't all bad. I was just looking in the wrong places for a long time. So,
what years were those that you fell out of love?
Literally the 2010s, like after college. I just started listening to other stuff because I was dissatisfied with metal that was out, and yeah, I just was looking in the wrong places. So
yeah, absolutely. This is when my flame for metal really fanned into, it's almost exclusively what I work out to, and I know I'm going to discuss that quite a bit when we talk about my picks, but there's nothing better than just working out to metal. It's just like there's nothing that makes you feel like more manly or like gets the testosterone flowing quite like metal. So I love it for that, and it's been like the metronome to my workouts and my fitness journey, I guess. Not that I'm like the peak of health, but it is what, if I put on a good playlist, it keeps me in there another 20 minutes when I could have just faded out and finished up. It gives you that next push that you need. So
yeah, for sure.
You want to talk about audience submissions? I'll let you go first.
Let's get her started. Do you have emails pulled up? I think both Ben and Louie had their.
Yeah.
I can pull them up too. But anyway, I'll start with my older brother Jason, who's been a mainstay this month. He picked "Kiss the Go-Go" by Ghost, which is great because Ghost is a recent discovery for me, and they're interesting, especially like this song. They sound like hard rock from the 60s, essentially. But there's just something about them that makes them seem very metal, and I don't know what it is. It's probably because their lead singer dresses like a ghost pope, and just their whole general vibe is just very kind of creepy, with like just that kind of really cool 60s hard rock feel to it. I don't know. I love Ghost. I'm obsessed with them currently. And just don't come into it thinking you're going to get like super heavy metal, because you're not. But I think it's more of a feeling from them than it is like the actual sonic experience. So
yeah, I think the vocalist at times kind of has like a metal twang to his delivery, but really it almost sounds like the Killers or like the 80s metal we were listening to a few weeks ago. It was really cool, and they're Grammy winning. This is a Grammy award-winning band, and I had a lot of fun because I was like, maybe this is like an older track, and they got harder. No, they refined their sound. They had an album come out this year, and I was really vibing to it earlier. So
yeah, their new album kicks ass. I love it, dude. So if you're looking for something a little different, if you're tired of all the heaviness that we're about to get into, give Ghost a shot because they kick ass.
It's oddly refreshing with everything else we have on here for sure.
Yeah.
Second pick is Prayer Position by Periphery, which is a Louie Curran pick. I got his email pulled up. It says it's titled "The Final Countdown." It's been a wild ride, but we finally have reached the last decade, and these decisions have not become any easier. So many bands being left on the cutting room floor, but only the best can make it. My submission this week is Prayer Position by Periphery. Periphery has risen to the highest echelon of prog metal in the last decade, and no list is complete without them. This song grooves hard, and every member brings their A game, including all three guitarists. And then we've got Song of the Show from him later.
Yep.
I know why you guys both like this. It sounds very similar to Jinjer, in my opinion, but that at like 3/4 through the way, I was like, oh god, that's so tasty.
Yeah, it's sexual, dude. Yeah, and this whole thing is just instrumental masturbation, and I'm an Yngwie Malmsteen fan, so I like that. So, yeah, man, it's if you wanted prog, here you go. This is as good as it gets. So, yeah, man, great pick. Like I almost picked a Periphery song, but I just wasn't as familiar with them, and I didn't want to feel fake about it. So I'm glad Louie did. Yeah, I'll move on to Ben's pick. I got his email pulled up here. Both of them wrote longer emails this week. I think everybody's kind of feeling the loss of Metal March here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Ben, younger brother Ben, Metal March is it's titled. Does it have to be over? It does.
It does.
Time marches on, unfortunately. But yeah, Metal March has been a grand old affair, boys. Sad to see it go, but can't wait for the next adventure. My pick for the teens is Buried Alive by Avenged Sevenfold. The song might take 4 minutes to really start, but boy, oh boy, does patience pay off in this one. The second the chug starts, you're assaulted with a whole new brand of heavy with epic guitar work and impressive vocals. Flipping a ballad on its head like that is a rare talent, and it makes Buried Alive better with every listen. Shout out to Rev, R.I.P. He died right after writing all the drum tracks to Nightmare. The band pressed on with the album as a tribute, producing what I consider their last great work. Nightmare is heavy on a different level, with immediate personal tragedy coloring every note and bar. Everybody knows Avenged from the radio in the 2000s, but what they don't know is Rev sold the sound. So quite a bit there from Ben, but it's fitting. That backstory is cool too. Again, just I expected Ben to pick an Avenged Sevenfold song, and he did. And he picked a ballad, which doesn't surprise me either. But the end of the song is incredible. I love, get your fucking hands off me, like that shit. And then the end of it is just really good. Avenged has always been really good instrumentally. They just always leave me wanting a little more, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah,
but I saw his email, and I read his messages earlier talking about making sure we got to the end of it. And at first I was like, oh, like 4 minutes in, and I'm like still kind of waiting, and then it explodes. And I really thought it was a really cool payoff to get something like that from a track I wasn't really expecting. I thought it was just gonna be a sad ballad, especially reading the email, and hearing that the last half of the song really kick up is awesome. So I really enjoyed his pick, and I know he wants me to get into Avenged, and I might get there, but maybe next Metal March.
Yeah, maybe next year, bud. Yeah. So thanks everybody for submitting again. Zoe has one too. Last second here.
Hers is just a song on the show, so we can
okay.
get into that one later.
Never mind. So it's your week. Do you want to go first? Who do you want to go first?
You know what? I'll go first.
Okay.
Let's just do it. Mine is "So What" by While She Sleeps. I realized after we did like the decades and listening to all my picks and things that I really wanted on the playlist, I kind of just enjoyed the same sound, just progressing in each decade.
Yeah,
and While She Sleeps has that same sound that we've heard from Snot, from Slipknot. A lot of the picks I've made are in the same vein, and it's just got that raw emotion coming through. I feel like the screamers are always emoting more than they are like trying to be dark and menacing, and they do While She Sleeps, I always was a huge fan of the album before. But this one just it's been in my rotation for as long as it's been out. I think it came out in 2019, and I've burnt the wheels off of it. And I think So What is just like so dynamic. The rest of the songs are pretty straightforward, but this one is dynamic, and I like it for that. It makes you think that it's going to be like almost like a hip hoppy track, and then it comes in with the guttural screams and the gang vocals. Like all of it is just like it put it on a T for me. So it was a really easy pick. And this has been, like I said, it's been on my heavy rotation, but it's also been one of my staples for workout playlists. This and the Beartooth pick. So what you got?
Sure. No, man, I was worried about this for the first 25 seconds. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, oh, man, here we go. And then there's this incredible, I don't even know what it is, but it's some sort of squealing riff that comes in. Then there's like really like, I don't know what else to call them other than power drums. And it just kicked me right in the nuts for ever doubting it, to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest. Like, this is my favorite playlist, top to bottom, that we've done this month. Like, it's not even close. I think we both killed our picks. But yeah, man, I think just, I never realized, and I don't know why anybody else didn't realize it sooner, that pop punk sensibilities work really well with like metal instrumentals. Like the driving beat that like you get in like pop punk, the gang vocals you were just talking about. I'm shocked nobody figured it out in like the 80s or 90s. And I'm sure some people did, but like it just works. I think people needed to like go through the evolution of things.
I think that's the appeal of nu metal. Like the things that still work for nu metal was those kind of driving forces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's just that's why I think I love metal so much too. Is it takes influences from everywhere, dude. Like classical, blues, rockabilly, punk, even some pop. It's like it's all over the fucking place, and every bit of it is good. There's a lot of electro stuff. I mean, it's crazy. So, yeah, great first pick for you. And I wasn't sure what you were going to pick here because I don't know. I guess I never really dug into what your type of metal is. I just really am very sure of what my type of metal is. So,
yeah, I think especially last week you could kind of guess the metalcore stuff, but yeah, since then getting out of metalcore there's so much different stuff, and it kind of all stems from that family tree. So
yeah,
what you got for your first pick?
First pick, Raise Your Horns by Amon Amarth. Amon Amarth always kind of sneaks into my rotation whenever I get into like a metal mood. And, they're one of the many Viking metal bands that I listen to. I don't know if it's the actual genre, but they all pretend to be historical figures and Vikings and do like Finnish folk shit. And it's just really cool to me, man. This track is simple. It's heavy. It's about being a Viking. What else do you need? It's Raise Your Horns. There's no subtext here. It's just good. It's like the evolution. It's like a sub-genre of power metal, kind of. It's not power metal because it's not operatic and symphonic, but it's still super nerdy. So, yeah, I fucking love it, man. I've talked about it ad nauseum. I love just the dorkiest shit possible.
And this is top tier dorky. I fucking love it.
Yeah.
Just pass me my drinking horn and get me the darkest mead. We're gonna conquer this motherfucker. And dude, yeah, I was having so much fun with this song because it is almost like Irish punk, except it's like they went farther back. So right. I thought it was really fun. I wasn't crazy about the vocalist. I thought at times he left us wanting more, but
sure,
he fit the vibe they were going for, so it wasn't that offensive.
Yeah, this song isn't going to blow your socks off by any means. It's not like the typical prog shit I bring to these playlists. It's just good. It's just good metal. It's middle of the road, and I love it for it. You
still want to listen to it on the way to like the Renaissance Festival.
Sure.
So you ready for my second pick?
I'm ready, dude.
Breathless by Asking Alexandria. Asking Alexandria, I easily could have put them in the last decade because that's when they were really huge. But when I really got into them was this album, Reckless and Relentless. And I have a funny story about it real quick. I bought the CD at either Hot Topic or FYE, whichever one, at one of the malls near us. And when I bought it and I got in the car, I was with my or my girlfriend at the time and her family, and they were like, "Oh, you bought a CD? Let's throw it in." And I was like, "No, I don't think that's a good idea." And they're like, "No, no, come on. We like rock music." And I'm like, "It's not really rock. Like, it's." I didn't know what to say, so I was like, "All right, whatever." So I take the plastic off and put the CD in, and there's like a little like intro, like a talking intro, and then it like takes a deep breath, and he just immediately starts screaming. And they made it probably 30 seconds in, and they turned it back to the radio, and they were like, "Yeah, that's really not like our cup of tea." I was like, "Man, I should have just been, I should have just put my foot down and been like, no, we shouldn't listen to this." But
No,
I kind of want to see their reaction.
You got to open hearts and minds, and you never know unless you take that leap of faith, you know?
Yeah.
And, you tried it and they didn't like it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
At least now they know for sure.
Yeah. And this album like really set my world on fire for Asking Alexandria. I was kind of mad about them because I think everyone's seen the trend where oh my God. It's like a TikTok trend. That's Asking Alexandria. And it's like, it was kind of like dorky and not in a good way. But this felt more rock and roll. This felt like it had something to say. And Breathless is just, it's hard as hell.
Yeah, that's for sure. I when I listened to it, I was like, "Fuck, Dill's tired of me taking the super heavy spotlight." So he fucking brought the heat this week. But yeah, man, this is the shit I need. This is what I was talking about in my intro here. Is like, this is the kind of stuff that I needed when I was falling out of love, because it's like this isn't necessarily like 100% my cup of tea, but it would have kept like my love pumping. It's like the perfect amount of heaviness and lightness in this song. I think like the vocals give it that quality for sure. But we also get a fucking like super gutter like right before a fucking breakdown right at the end, and it sets up one of the coolest last 2 minutes of a song I've heard in a long time. It's fucking awesome, man. It blew me away when I started listening to, because I was listening to my picks before you got yours in, and then once I started listening to full playlist and I got to your shit, I was like, oh fuck, okay, all right, Dill, bring the fucking heat, bud. Yeah, it's just a fucking brutal song. I love it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I actually have a similar. You're welcome for my approval, Dill. I know it's all you crave, and I know you don't sleep at night unless I pat you on the head.
Well, I also make picks, and I'm like, I kind of want to push you. Like, I don't know if you're really going to enjoy this, but when you do, I'm like, oh, I guess, we've been doing this for a while, and it still catches me by surprise what you actually enjoy. So
yeah,
I'm the same way.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, no, I have a similar story to that Asking Alexandria story. It's the first time I bought a CD with like my own money, I guess. It was the Marshall Mathers LP. And we were out with my family, and they're like, "Oh, hey, put on your new CD. Don't you want to listen to it?" I'm like, no, no, I sure don't. And then I bet, like, just like you, I eventually got coerced into putting it in the CD player, and I'm not sure what my parents thought about it, but I don't think they hated it. But I don't know if they necessarily wanted, however old I was, to be listening to fucking Ken Kniff skits and shit like that. So
yeah,
I think
both are like shocking.
Yeah, it's just like it's like, I don't know. I couldn't have picked any worse album from that year probably to play for my parents on a family trip to Best Buy and fucking Fazoli's.
Fazoli's, incredible.
Yeah.
So what you got for your second pick?
Second pick. I don't know why I said that way. Teacher by Jinjer. I full disclosure, I warned Bill right away when we were getting to this week, like, there's going to be Jinjer and Gojira on my list because they're the best. They have been for a while now. At least in my heart of hearts, that's what I believe. But yeah, I think this is the first track every real Jinjer fan like heard back in the day. It's one of their earliest like big hits that I can think of. But it's crazy, honestly, listening back to it, to hear how much they've grown. I think there's a bunch of different band members now, but specifically Tatiana's vocals are she's just refined. It's not that they're bad in this, it's just she's a much better clean singer now, and I think she's a much better growler too. But I fucking still love this track. I've listened to it a ton this week. I don't know, man. It's just there's something really cool about, I don't know, just Tatiana, I think, is super special. She's one of the, like, a rare vocalist that I don't think we'll see for a long time, anything like her. And this is every former Catholic girl who turned evil's anthem. It's, talking about, like, it's basically getting punished by a nun at a Catholic school and just saying, don't let the teachers fool you because the teachers might be fools too. It's pretty emo, honestly.
Yeah.
And I just fucking love it, man. It's there's just something, I don't know. I think I watched an interview with Tatiana where she talked about how she writes her songs. And it's interesting because she doesn't have any input on, like, the instrumentals that goes into it. They, like, record all the instrumentals, and she writes poetry in whatever language she speaks. I don't remember what it is. They're from the Ukraine, so I don't know if she speaks Russian or whatever she speaks. But she writes them in Russian and then translates it into English. She writes poetry, and then they become, like, better song lyrics in English. I don't know. It's cool. Whatever she does, she's fucking awesome. And I will listen to Tati and Jinjer for as long as they are making music.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. The same way we did the Gojira song last week. It's just kind of cool to hear, especially a very recent album, and then hear something so far back. It's one of my favorite things about music is, like, when you get in the late stages. Like, I got in on Blink right around the time they were breaking up. I think it was close enough. There was a couple years where I got to see them be active, and then they broke up, and then I wanted to work my way backwards. And the fact that we've got to do this for the last couple weeks has made me really happy. But the evolution of Jinjer, Tati sounds so young, and I think that kind of also makes it even more impressive when she gets to her screams, because her screams are not what make her sound young; it's her clean. Mm-hmm. The screams have always been refined, and it's really impressive. The song feels ginormous, and I guess getting some context with the lyrics, that makes a lot of sense. You have to go against the church pretty much in any country is a huge, huge thing. And you need, like, ginormous instruments and vocals to, like, be behind that if you're going to, start a war. So,
yeah, I mean, when she because she goes, like, the first part where she really screams in the song, it's the smacking this evil child, or whatever the fuck she does, and it's so weird because it's such a big flip. It's not as big as a flip anymore because I think she knows how to control her cleans with her screams, so it flip them more naturally now. But it sounds really cool. It sounds really raw, so
yeah,
which fits the timbre of the song. So
yeah, very cool. And the reprisal at the end is so fucking cool. I thought, you think the song's over, and then it brings it back one more time, and it's like, whatever you got left, you put it into the song, and I was really into it. So yeah, awesome pick.
Thank you.
I mean, it was a safe pick, really.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure, it's a safe pick because they're the best, but I'm not going to make a list about the 2010s metal without Jinjer. So
right,
especially when that's when they started.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I feel about my next pick. There's no 2010s metal without Beartooth for me. My third pick is Fire by Beartooth. And they've just kind of been their own brand of metal. I was always a huge fan of Caleb Shomo, especially in Attack Attack when he was in the late stages of Attack Attack where he was sole creator. And we kind of got to hear that sound where I think the last album of Attack Attack you would really enjoy because it's Caleb kind of doing metal, but not like the punk metal that he does now. And when Beartooth first came to the scene, I was like, I don't know. And then I worked at Red Bull, and there's Red Bull record. They're on Red Bull Records, so you can't go into any distribution center, anything, without seeing Beartooth on the front cover of any Red Bull magazine. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go home and listen to him. And it's just like rock and roll, metal, punk. It's just like everything I enjoy about music. Beartooth just encapsulates that. And he's always been really honest about his like feelings of self-loathing and stuff, and we'll talk about that a little bit more later with my song on the show. But he's just like an open book, and he's not afraid to just like eviscerate himself and put it all out there for you. He's got great hook sensibilities. Sink a little lower, get a little higher, finger on the trigger, screaming, ready, aim, fire. Dude, how's that not already been a song? That's so sick.
Yeah, that's good. That's just good writing. And, you know, we appreciate clever writing around these parts. So, I don't know why I said it that way, but
around
these fucking parts here, we like some cleverness. But yeah, no, Beartooth has been a mainstay on my Discover Weekly since we covered their EP last year. It wasn't from last year, but we did an EP of theirs from last year. Or we whatever.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, was it?
That was 2020, I want to say.
Oh fuck. Time flies when you're having fun, Dill, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another band I'm upset I didn't know about earlier because their shit's fucking hard. Like I didn't expect it. Because I think you warned me before because we did like an acoustic EP, right? But then like I started listening to them even a little bit more after that. I was like, oh shit, no, there's some fucking meat here, and I'd like to sink my teeth into it. But yeah, my main feeling, and this is where I'm going to get into my Avenged Sevenfold part. This is what Avenged Sevenfold wishes they were. This is like them fully realized. And I don't hate Avenged Sevenfold. I don't want people to think that. Like, it's my biggest thing with Ben. He thinks I hate Avenged Sevenfold. I don't. I just wanted more from them. It's the same way I feel about Coheed and Cambria. It's like they made some really good shit, and they were capable of doing really good shit. They just didn't all the time, which is annoying. But yeah, no, Beartooth like filled that hole that Avenged Sevenfold left in my heart with just like a really fucking cool sound. And it's just it's kind of the same thing I said about your last pick. It's really fucking heavy, but there's a certain lightness to it that keeps you grounded almost. It doesn't like bury you in this deep dark hole with the shit that I listen to a lot of the time. I just kind of it's like I don't know. It's refreshing almost because for the longest time I thought metal had to be buried in the muck and it doesn't have to be. So yeah, man, I need to listen to more Beartooth. Like I said, I listen to them every time they pop up on my Discover Weekly, but I've never really done a deep dive. So hopefully,
when it comes to like studio albums, he does it all, which is having that kind of creative control and being able to like see your vision come through like that is crazy. Yeah. Being able to sing, scream, drum, guitar, like all of it, it's awesome. And then he has like tour members, so it's really just the Caleb Shomo show. So
yeah, I mean, if you can Reznor something, you might as well Reznor it, right?
Yeah,
if you got the talent to do it, nothing wrong with that. I feel like we're flying through this.
Well, we're at 30 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I won't waste any more time. Let's get these listeners out of here, huh? So my fourth pick is the Abysmal Eye by Meshuggah. This is the no.
You're on.
I'm on 3. So that's my fourth pick. Little spoiler there.
Yeah.
L'enfant sauvage, I think is how you say that. That's poor French. I think it means the savage child. By Gojira. This is the title track from this album, obviously of the same name. But yeah, Gojira Goes Gent is essentially the theme of this song and this whole album, really. They decided just to be super heavy and not really into the prog stuff so much. I mean, it's a little bit there. They do their pick scrapes and stuff still, which is like their sound, essentially. But I miss a lot of that, but I really wanted to do something from this album because it's one of the ones I listen to the least, but there's some good stuff there. I went the last time I did a Gojira deep dive, I listened through this album. I was like, I kind of miss the weirdness a little bit, but then I love this song, and then there's a song later that I almost put on, but it was like 7 minutes long, and it doesn't really get good until like minute 5. So it's fine. It's just kind of an average metal track, but then it's called The Mouth of Kala, and the breakdown in The Mouth of Kala is. I nearly wrecked my car the first time I listened to it because I was like, "Whoa!" It just fucking blew my dick off, dude. It's so fucking heavy. And again, it's it's not this song, but I want to talk about Mouth of Kala too, because it's a Gojira thing. They're really, really good at just letting their heavy notes resonate and kind of just like fill your body with just heaviness. It's the same thing like the Heaviest Matter of the Universe did last week. It's the same thing they kind of do here in this song. Just Gojira has a knack for making you feel crushed, but also being really happy about it. It's what I imagine guys that have crushing fetishes feel like.
Yeah,
it's how,
not you.
No, please, definitely not me. That's something I would never get into. I definitely don't want to be stepped on. But yeah, no, it's just straight up metal, man. And I think every metal band deserves to have a straight up metal album.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean it's less good. It just means it's different.
Yeah. First things first, we got to talk about that. I thought that it said infant sausage. I was like, what in the hell? You know, metal can get weird, but infant sausage, I was very perplexed. And I can't read.
There's a band called Infant Annihilator. So
yeah,
it's very.
How far off is infant sausage?
Yeah, it's not far off.
But I didn't think this sounded like Gojira at all. It kind of surprised me. It almost sounds more like alternative leaning at times, but it doesn't stop it from getting like dark. And there's almost speed metal towards the end. I think around the 2:30 mark, it becomes a completely different song. And there's a double kick in there that just like blew my mind. And this was kind of eye-opening because I liked the Gojira album. I liked the pick you had last week, but this one was the first one was like, okay, this is kind of my speed. And it makes me want to go check out the album. So
yeah, you might actually really dig this album then, because if this is your speed of Gojira, then yeah, definitely give this album a listen, because it's really more just straightforward, not as proggy.
I've been building a playlist based off of things that I enjoyed from our playlist over the week. So it's made for a really cool like workout playlist, and this made the list. So love it.
It always makes me happy. I love that you're getting shredded to my pick still.
Yeah. Well, I'm not getting shredded, but
hey, hey, it's abs before 30 year, man. You got to get those abs.
Yep. Yeah. If I ever shake this little cough I got. So my fourth pick, Break Free by Hundredth. In recent years, Hundredth has kind of taken the Bring Me the Horizon approach, and they've gone kind of softer. And it's not a bad thing, but it's like we've always said, go make your money, but it doesn't always mean that I'm gonna join you for the ride. But there was a time in like the mid 2010s where they were metal as hell, and I'm not sure what brand of metal this necessarily is, because they were signed to like Hopeless Records with a lot of alternative bands, and it just never seemed like they fit into the world that they were in. But Break Free from Your Misery, like, this makes me want to put my hand through drywall. It almost reminds me of like what you would hear in a street fight scene in a movie in like downtown Boston, if there was like a brawl or something, or like a serial killer who just wants to like bare knuckle beat people up and kill people. And I only say that because I've been watching Criminal Minds, and it gets pretty violent with that kind of stuff. And I was like, dang, I almost want to put, I want to like take this clip and put Break Free by Hundredth over it and see if it works, because I'm sure it will.
I'm sure it does. Yeah, man, I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for a clean vocal in this song. It just never happens. But this track is begging for a clean vocal at some point. There's so many parts where you could put in a clean vocal and it would sound cool, but it never does, and I love it. I don't know. I think anytime you subvert expectations and it works like this, I'm gonna love it. It doesn't really matter the genre or whatever. I'm just always gonna enjoy having my fucking balls teased. Because eventually I'm going to get the payoff whether they want me to or not. But yeah, no, these boys are fucking angry, and you're going to feel that whether you want to or not. And I think there's something brave in that kind of songwriting where, you could, I'm sure they felt it too. Like, hey, we could use a clean, I don't know if they have a clean vocalist or they do clean vocals, but just
it might be like Ollie, where he just eventually found a way to do clean vocals instead of screaming.
Yeah. Whatever it is, I'm glad they didn't do it, even though I was heavily expecting it. And this is what good modern new metal should sound like. There's a lot of new metal touches in here. A lot of the rhythms and stuff are very new metal inspired. And I'm glad that the genre. I don't know what this genre is either, but I'm glad to know that some new metal survived. Like some of the good stuff from new metal survived, not the, you know, dick licking Fred Durst new metal, the like Mudvayne, Corn new metal survived.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I loved. I've never heard of this band. This is the only band on your track list that I hadn't heard anything from. So I was excited to dig in.
Yeah, I think "Free" is the name of that album, and in recent years, it's wild. I almost want you to listen to one of their recent songs and be like, "This is not the same band." It's like a band that took over the name or something. But yeah, let's get into your fourth pick, eh?
Yeah, the one I teased earlier. That's getting the listeners to stick around. You know, old trick of showbiz. The Abysmal Eye by Meshuggah. I talked about it last week with my song of the show. Meshuggah means, I think, insanity or insane in Yiddish, which is interesting just because it's interesting. No other reason that it is interesting. But this is like, full disclosure, this is the beginning of my Meshuggah deep dive. I think I'm finally ready to dive into a band I was very, very scared of for a long time. And Thomas Haka, I believe is how you say his name. I don't really know. He's a god. He's an absolute god on drums. I don't know how he does it. It's silly to say that a band revolves around a drummer, but this one does, and is especially does, because in this one again, I don't know if it's a polyrhythm or not, but the band is playing with the kicks, but there's something else happening up top. And I just don't know how you play drums that way. Just playing straight up drums would confuse me. I can't pat my head and rub my stomach. You know what I mean? So the fact that this guy can do 4 different things with 4 different limbs is just, it's wonderful to listen to for me. But yeah,
I almost thought they were like drum fills, but
yeah,
that would be crazy if he is doing something while keeping a beat. Like, I just thought like he was moving that fast that like he could throw a fill in somewhere and whoa.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but this dude's fucking awesome. But yeah, I mean, like you can hear the way the band kind of responds to him, especially in the instrumentals that come in the middle of this track. It's incredibly haunting, and like it sounds like the mind of a clinically insane person. It doesn't sound like it should make sense, but when you really start to dig into it, you can kind of see the brilliance in it. It's very, very, because that's why I was scared of him at first. It's like, this fucking sucks. Like, this doesn't make any sense musically, but I just wasn't listening correctly. Like, Meshuggah blows my mind, and I might have a new favorite band shortly for a band that's been out since like the late 80s. I'm just now finally getting into them, so I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right about the drummer. He keeps it interesting, because there are times this song almost felt monotonous, or like, I don't know, I don't want to use the word mundane, but like you felt like we were kind of repeating ourselves. If that drummer wasn't like going the fuck off, it would be a completely different song, and it gives that feeling of an ease the entire song. So I think you're right, like clinically insane, where like at any moment they could just snap. That's what this song gives you the feeling of. And don't listen to it in your house alone for sure at night, because it will give you the creeps.
Yeah, I think like the guitars are almost the metronome in this track, which is weird to say, but I feel like the lead guitar is just the metronome. So I think that's why it feels repetitive, and that's just something that turned me off of it as well. Is like, this is just the same shit over and over again. It's just kind of noise. But I think this song, it's not obvious, but this band revolves around the rhythm section. Like the rhythm section is the lead guitar, and it just kind of flips the concept on its head. It's crazy.
Yeah, very cool. And if you get down in that hole for Meshuggah, I'll go down there with you.
I'm already in it, dude. I've been listening to them all day. I took off work a little early today, so I've just been fucking listening to music literally all day.
Yeah. So my fifth pick.
Yes.
My fifth and last pick. Actually threw an alt at the very, I don't want to say the last second, but we're recording a little bit quicker than we normally do. And I picked Identity by August Burns Red. I initially had Hands Like Houses in there, and I thought it was a cool and different song because it was a little bit lighter. But after we talked about, after we talked about August Burns Red last week, and I'd made mention of those August Burns Red lyrics that like stopped me with the bar on my chest. This is that song, because this song just like, it gets me to my core, and I don't know why. It's not even like something I can completely relate to, but I was like, just the way he says it makes me like want to join his army. Whatever his cause is, I'm behind him 100%. You know what I mean? Just like
Right.
Jim Jones style. You want to go down to South America, I'm with you, buddy. I'll be your number 2. Stop living in denial. Stop living the lie. I thought blood was thicker than water. You think I'm wrong, but I've never felt better. Fucking dope. That's probably one of my favorite metal lyrics of all time, just because, I don't know, it just struck me, and the way he delivers it is even better. But after he says that, we get the grooviest bass section and then this instrumental break, and it's like one of my favorite sounds in the world. And there's a reason I've probably listened to this more than any other metal track. It's just because, I don't know, that second half of the song just can get me there. When it comes to working out, when it comes to driving, it's like, man, if I'm ever like on the brink or I'm tired, I listen to the song and it brings you right there, man.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like what I was talking about earlier. Like, August Burns Red is one of those bands that I know about, but I've never really dug into. And this whole month has made me realize that there's a whole side of metal that I just haven't dug into yet, and I missed out on, for quite frankly, and I'm kind of sad about it. But you know, again, that's the whole point of this whole little shindig we're doing here. Again, this is another one of those tracks that made me realize that there's a form of metal that can operate above the muck of like death and dark metal that I've been really into, basically, you know, as long as I can remember. Going back to like, you know, middle school and early high school, when I found that Roots album by Sepultura, I was like, okay, I need heavier shit, and it's just been I've just been shoveling the shit ever since then. But yeah, it's that instrumental you were talking about is surfer music. It's just surfer music, but there's fucking screams over it, which blew my fucking mind. I was like, what this shouldn't work, and I shouldn't like it, but I do. And I feel like that's a lot of the music that I listen to. Is like, if you can do something goofy and make it work, I'm gonna like it. It doesn't really have to make sense. It's like I think we all really like the Dog Fashion Disco pick from a couple weeks ago, and that shit's fucking batshit crazy, but it works. Like, horns shouldn't work in a metal song, but it does. But yeah, you know, that surfer instrumental leads right into a guitar solo. It's not the best guitar solo in the world, but it's just that weird little touch that I just kind of tickled my heart a little bit, and I was happy to be listening to something that I just genuinely had never heard before, because I don't, you know, that's getting harder and harder to do the more music we listen to. So but yeah, man, you brought the heat with some chugs this week. It's almost like we've been doing a podcast together for 2 years about music. So
our picks are equal parts. Like, I really enjoy this, but I also know that you're going to enjoy it on a certain level. And if I can get you in on it, it's almost better than like me enjoying the music. If I can get you to enjoy it, that makes me feel just as good.
Yeah. Ready to move on
to
my favorite song on the playlist?
Probably the best, objectively the best song on the playlist.
I think so. So Threat of Your Presence by Born of Osiris. Born of Osiris is now on my modern metal, what's the word I'm looking for? Mount Rushmore. They are up there with Gojira and Jinjer. I think everything I've listened to them over the past year has just been excellent. It's been absolutely excellent. This is what metal sound. This is why I talk about production value is so important, because this is what metal can sound like when you stop worrying about sounding raw and you just produce a really cool sounding track. Like, I don't know if it would sound like this live, but who gives a fuck? Because I'm probably never going to see Born of Osiris live, let's be honest. So I don't give a shit if it's just a studio track. It sounds awesome. This is everything hits harder. It sounds like everybody's playing all of their instruments with fucking, I don't know, some space instrument. It's just I don't know. It I don't I'm speechless. It's got me stammering, man. Yeah, if old school metal is like a gnarly battle tank, Born of Osiris is a wicked alien mothership that fucking destroys worlds. And it's just, they're both intimidating and they're both kind of evil, but one is just way more destructive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, the last like minute of this song where he finally said, you know, he says, "Witness the threat of your presence," and then they do that fucking awesome breakdown, and then it's so good, dude. There's electronic elements in here, but they don't feel forced. Prog metal at its best.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely cheating because it's not in the decade, but it's 2021. And but you know what? It gets the pass because it's so darn catchy.
Hold on, I don't think it's cheating. I said it was 2010 to the present, a lot. You just decided it was just 2010s.
Well, it's the decades. You know, we were holding ourselves to a 9-year decade. And you know what? It's all
2010 to the present. That's what I'm sticking with. And I know it's not cheating because it's my podcast too, Dylan.
That's why I said that you get a pass because I don't really care.
Yeah,
I just want to give you shit about it. And plus it's the best song on our playlist. It's brutal as hell. I love the screams. There's like electronic synth. I don't know, but it sounds harder than synth. Normally synth takes me out of a song, and this is almost like playing like to play off your like imagery, just like someone in space like pounding on a piano, like a space piano. I don't know. It everything's got to be space related. But yeah, I love this song. It's so dope, and I think it's the first time we've talked about them outside of like a song of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I love it. It was a great.
We did White Nile, I think is the name of the song for a song of the show, and I fucking creamed my pants over that one too. So I love this band. This is exactly what I want metal to sound like forever. So yes, please, Born of Osiris, keep making music. I know I'm a little late to the train, but holy shit, you blew my fucking world. So thank you.
So yeah, there you have it. That's our metal march through the decades. I feel good.
Plus a couple years.
Yeah, plus 2021. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I've had a lot of fun. I think the first 3 months we've done this year has made it really fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not only just like doing alliterations, but also like forcing our hand to like really do deep dives. With the Beatles and then Feminist February, and then this, it's been a wild ride. So I'm having a lot of fun. I don't know about you.
Yeah, man. I think it's no secret that I love metal, and I think it's the main reason like we decided to do a music podcast because we knew we had some sort of common thread in this realm. Yeah, man. I always look forward to Metal March because I always kind of fall like not out of love, but I stopped listening to metal for long periods of time. So when I always come back to it, it's like a big fucking comfy pillow for me, man. I don't know how anybody can not like metal. I get it, but I also don't understand it. Does that make sense? Like I get that you don't want to hear screams, but I also don't understand why you don't. it's so fucking good, man. I don't know. I just think people just don't give it a fair shake because they think it's all like Slayer or just fucking noise. But it's not. There's a lot of really good accessible shit here. You just got to find the right place to start, and then you'll eventually be listening to death and dark metal like me.
Yeah.
So,
or whatever version of metal I listen to.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 different roads you can take.
Yep.
Let's get into songs of the show. I will let you do Ben's first if you want.
Okay. I still have his email pulled up. Good. So Ben's song of the show is Radio by Rammstein. I don't know. That was bad German. I apologize to any German listeners out there. I think 2% of our listenership comes from Europe. So if you're German, I apologize.
Yep.
But anyway, shouldn't be any surprise that Benny would click with the heavy tech infused industrial metal, and with Louie, showed me this song during a visit to Columbus. It was such a comfort to me to know that Rammstein was still out there kicking ass. Brevity has never been my strong suit. Benji, Columbus, Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it's a Rammstein track. It's good. Yeah, it's a Rammstein track. It's good.
It's not as good as the one that became my obsession there for a few weeks. I can't even remember what it was. You remember that Rammstein? I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I'll look it up here in a minute. Louie says, my song of the show is Hair Trigger by Protest the Hero. Along similar lines as Periphery, these dudes are masters of their instrument. It's a fast, furious song about smoking cigarettes, and the vocals take it over the top. One of the best songs of the last 12 years. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that's heavy praise from Louie, who listens to a lot more metal than I do, which is a lot. So, yeah, I fucking love this pick. It's me and Louie like very similar types of metal, so this is going to be something I love always. So, do you want me to do my pick first, or do you want to go first?
Well, I actually also have Zoe.
That's right.
Zoe has like a weird mashup that she has been listening to, and it's technically, I guess, not able to be put into a playlist because it's not a true song. So someone made like a podcast and uploaded it as like a 1-minute song. It's Cooking by the Book featuring Lil Jon. It is weird and catchy and funny.
Yep.
Exactly what you would expect.
I'm going to tell you right now, Spotify did not want to open that track for me. It took me like 3 or 4 clicks, but it finally cooperated with me. But yeah, no, I listened to it right before we hopped on here. It's something for sure. It's exactly my kind of weird. So I love it.
Yeah. You can do your song first.
Okay. Well, again, like I said, I've been listening to music all day, and I found Spotify compiled a list of metal covers. And on that metal covers playlist was a cover of Mambo No. 5. And I said, how can you make Mambo No. 5 metal? And COMETRON, I believe, is the name of the COME, not CUM-tron.
Yeah.
Which would have been funnier. They should have done that. But they also had a Live in La Vida Loca cover on this same playlist. But this Mambo No. 5 cover is fucking wild. And when I listen to it, I haven't laughed that hard in quite some time. I was like, this fucking works. It shouldn't work, but it fucking works, and it's fucking weird, and I love it. And I had a Japanese pop rock song on here before. I was like, nah, I gotta do this. This isn't gonna fit anywhere else. I could put that other song on any other time. It had to be this Mambo No. 5 metal cover by COMETRON. If just listen to it once, or like the first 10 seconds of it, you get what you need out of it.
Right. Yeah, it was a perfect way to close up metal for you.
Yeah.
My song of the show is Skin, the alternate universe version by Beartooth. They recently released a deluxe version of Below, their album from last year, and they added, I think, 3 new songs, which are heavy as hell, and then this one, which I really enjoy when he reimagines his songs. That's the episode we did before. I love when he reimagines it and does it in a completely different genre, just to remind us how good he would be in any genre he wanted to do. I love it.
Yeah. Kind of masturbatory, but I've established that I like masturbatory things. So, because if you're good enough at it, it ain't bragging if it's true, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if that was his intention. Maybe, just showing you, hearing the song in a different light. Because a lot of the songs from that EP we did, the live EP, just kind of open your eyes to what the songs were actually about,
Sure.
So let's talk about what we're doing next week. We're starting some interviews. We're going to be doing 3 weeks of interviews, possibly 4. We're working on a 4th one right now. We've already recorded the interview with our friends from Harbor. They're a Cincinnati, Ohio band, and we get to talk to them for about 45 minutes, just chatting it up about what they're up to and upcoming shows, stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that next week. Go check them out. We'll put some links for them on Spotify. And we got a couple more interviews coming up in the next couple weeks. It's pretty exciting times for us, Kev.
Yeah, they were super cool dudes. Like I was, I don't know, I wouldn't want to say nervous, but you know, we don't. The second time we've interviewed an artist, and the first time we both know personally, so
Yeah.
so that was a little bit less nerve wracking. But yeah, no, they were super cool. I can't wait to do more. I can't wait to talk to them again. Maybe just have them on and do a show, like a regular show with us. I think that'd be cool too if they're down. So
Oh yeah.
I'm excited
yeah.
for the next month for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is, we're just trying to do something a little bit different. I mean, our show is kind of open ended on what we allow ourselves to do. We don't really put restraints on what we do. So I thought it would be fun to talk to other artists and kind of, you know, not necessarily review music and just kind of get some behind the scenes stuff, because we are pretty nosy people and we just want answers.
I just like talking to people that make music because I can't make it, but I do love it. So
Yeah, I just want to know everything about it. So we have some people that actually like produce that are going to be coming on. So it'll be a really good time.
Yep.
But thanks for listening, guys. Go check out our playlist on Spotify. Listen to all the playlists. I might make like a big playlist and put all the music from every decade in there, and kind of just make a huge Metal March playlist for everyone if they're not looking for one specific decade or they want to be surprised. I think that would be fun. But
yeah, that'd be dope. Actually, I think it would be a really cool like random listen for sure.
Just try and figure out which one is from where. But yeah, check all those out in our show notes. And thanks for listening. Check out our Instagram at Off the Beaten Cliff. Our Twitter's at Off Cliff. And we're actually doing some video now. We are recording this episode. I don't know if it's going to make it to YouTube, but we are going to be uploading our interview with Harbor on YouTube and some other stuff. So we can actually plug our YouTube and our TikTok because we will be posting there now.
Yay.
So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Stop this recording.
I'm sweating my dick off, dude. I don't know
Are you?
why. It's so fucking hot in here. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy, dude. I don't know. I just noticed it about like 10 minutes. I'm like, I'm fucking hot. I'm not gonna fucking whip my fucking hoodie off.
You should have.